Started right on time. Hello, welcome to my masterclass. This is the 7 critical frameworks to become a person of influence. I am so excited to do this with you. I've been working on this for quite some time, and this is sort of a culmination of a lot of different work that I've done in the last couple of years. And if you know me, if you don't know me, I'm going to take a moment now to introduce myself and talk to you about my amazing new framework, my new seminar called Becoming a Person of Influence under the auspices of the Kavitz method, which is my handcrafted methodology that I have codified from years and years of practice of growing a business online. Okay, so what we're going to cover today is why influence beats algorithm and hustle culture. I'm a big proponent that the algorithm is not to be beaten. What there is, though, is an opportunity for, regardless of what your expertise is, we have lactation consultant, fitness, we have a naturopath, becoming a person of influence beats the algorithm. And I've put together a 7 POI framework that I see top influencers use. I'm coached by some of the top influencers in the world. I'm part of their community. So I've really been able to hone my skill and implement a profit-driven business. So this is the thing that I want people to understand is that influence equals dollar signs in so many ways. And it doesn't have to be about how many followers you have, right? It's not necessarily about having 100,000 followers or 2 million followers. Those things help. But you can have influence, impact, and profit regardless of your followership. So we're going to talk about how to implement these into your business. And at the end, we're going to do a live Q&A with a special bonus if you stay to the end. And I'm going to tell you about my program that I'm launching for the first time virtually, which I've never done before, right at the end. So, but really, this is a masterclass. I need the following from you. We're going to be together for about 60 minutes, and there will be time, as I said, for Q&A at the end. But I would really love for you to get a notebook. Because this isn't just like inspiration. This is a working session. I'm going to ask you to do some work. And what I do is called the POI audit. This is where we sort of look at the things you've done. And then at the end of the session, if you want to book time with me, I can review the audit with you to see how your POI is working, person of influence. Okay, so, all right, are we excited to get started? Do you want to become a person of influence? Yes, you do. Learn how to make some serious profit by becoming a POI. That's what I'm here to do. And to make genuine connections and be genuinely who you are online, because that's the only thing you can be. And sometimes you can't be online, right? Life happens. Lives, which Alexa and I were just talking about. So let's roll up our sleeves and we're going to get to work. Okay. So is this for you? If you're an expert from any industry, a coach, a creator, a founder, a side hustler, if you're an expert who wants to be known, not just visible, you want to be the go-to person, right? You want to be the person people think about in your industry and in your leadership. And this is for people who are tired of posting consistently with little to no show for it. This is something I hear about a lot, a big problem people have. And because of the nature of my business, this is really for parents and, busy humans who don't have 5 hours a day for content because that's just not going to work. And frankly, anyone who wants influence that actually leads to profit and opportunity. This to me is a Northern Star. And this to me is my fight sign. Hi, Carly. Welcome. Excited to see you here. We're talking about how to become a person of influence today. Meet your host. My name is Alana Kafitz. If you do not know me, I am the founder of Mom Halo and the Kafitz Method. I've been community building, influencing, and building business and growth and brand share partnerships in every sorts of different natures for the last 7.5 years, going on 8 years actually. And I'm really known for turning big picture possibilities into simple, practical steps. I'm a mom of 4, which is my pride and joy. And I'm a big believer in lifestyle first businesses because if you're not living your life, what's the point? So stick with me for the next one. This is just some examples of some content I've done recently, just some social proof of some stuff that's gone a little bit viral. I'm going to click this one and see if it works, okay? So this is I'm not sure if you can hear it. Can you hear it? No? Okay. So, context. The Blue Jays are in the World Series. People are watching the Jays the way they have never watched in 30 years. And this wasn't part of a strategy, but what dropped in for me was the last time I saw the Jays, I was in the fourth grade, 1993. And I remember this commercial in this song because it was so catchy. The sun will always shine, the birds will always sing, Coca-Cola Classic is always the real sing. And they made it about the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are the champions, right? That sort of thing. And I remember watching the World Series and Googling this, looking for the video. And the context overlay says if you were in grade 4 and this happened, you likely have a kid in grade 4 now, right? Understanding that was the cadence that this is going to hit for people, that like we are doing a generational moment for Canadians where their kids are experiencing something they experience at the exact same time on like a phenomenal stage. What I didn't expect was for this to hit 30,000 views within 24 hours, be shared 456 times, um, and saved over 91 times. Because this really brought up nostalgia. People were really having 51 comments, like really deep conversations about what this meant to them. Um, great. So another example is this one here. I'm not sure I'm going to click it because Canva doesn't like, it likes to take me out. But this was my birth announcement for my fourth child. And I've done a lot of birth announcements before, but I've never had one go to 2.2 million views. Um, and this was shared over 314 times. And there's 399 comments on this one. And this just took off like absolute wildfire. And I'll speak a little bit more about this, but I just want to show you the impact that social media can have, right? When you think about even this Blue Jay Stadium, right? It has 50,000 seats in the Rogers Center. This was watched by 30,000 people. So basically, think about 30,000 people inside of Rogers Center, like almost the capacity of Rogers Center watched this particular piece of content. And it really makes you stop and think about the power of social media. And this is a totally free media, guys. Like anyone can use it and it's totally accessible. Okay. So this is sort of my transformational moment, which is I really was a big time hustler. I really was, and I burned out. And I had to have sort of a big conversation with myself because, as you can see here, a photo of my family, this is my reason for living. And we've had served up all sorts of life. If you follow me or don't follow me, we've been just tested a lot. And as a result, I needed to change how I showed up in this world. So today, and I hope to inspire you to do the same, is that I really feel like I'm living a very joyful, balanced life as a mom with a business built on really POI systems for influence and profit. So we're going to dive into it in a minute. Here's some of my most recent customers who were in some of my live programs. And I literally got this text message on Friday. And it was from a woman that I coached last November, who I now still continue to coach for the last year. And she said, thank you so much again for yesterday. It felt very cathartic. I trust you completely in professional sense with your guidance, but also personally. And you care so deeply, which is why I wouldn't want to go through this entrepreneurial journey with anyone else. Really appreciate you and everything you do. And I feel like I've been really involved in the journeys of these couple women like Leslie Gottlieb and Lisa Shaw, who, gave me 10-minute testimonials that I had to turn down to 1 minute. You can check them out on my website, atlantacaves.com. But, things like this is a 10 and a 12, right? Like really, and Lisa said this changed my life forever, right? So those sorts of testimonies are things that make me feel incredibly proud that these people really have become in the last year, literally less than 12 months, real people of influence and leaders in their community. So let's talk about some of the pain points. Well, you're not seeing the influence you deserve. So first, it's not a lack of talent or heart. You just don't have a clear POI system guiding your action. So maybe you're consuming a lot of content, so therefore you're following conflicting advice and random trends, and you're really actually influencing for free instead of strategically creating profit. If you are somebody who's been in business for a while, or if you're new, one of these things might resonate with you. And I'm assuming for some of you might be the latter one, which is you are giving knowledge, but it's just really not converting. So let's talk about why. So what happens if nothing changes? You stay invisible to your niche. You do not leverage, and you're not seen in a leadership way. You're burnt out trying every new platform or trend. This is a hard one. Your dream client follows you, but hires someone else. And your content feels like shouting into the void. This is not a happy place to work from. So we want to move away from this particular piece and move closer to becoming the person of influence in the future, right? You become the first person people think about in your niche. Brands and collabs pitch you, right? Your DMs are full of aligned opportunities, not random noise. And influence becomes sustainable, profitable, and joyful. If you have any questions or if any of this resonates, you can give me a hell yeah in the comments, but we are going to get to all the questions in a minute. So this is the framework that I've created. It's 7 parts. You see them here: visibility, um, Reels growth, story systems, the offer alchemy, which is like a way to really build an offer, podcast and earned media tactics, uh, magnetic media kits for building brand deals, and one-to-many offers to scale. So to me, one-to-many offers can be like this, like a workshop, right? A webinar, building community online, anything to do with membership-based communities or event-based communities. That all falls under number 7. And this is my engine, right? This is how we fuel. And there is a little bit of a method to the madness. So today we're going to go through the first 3 because I cannot go through all 7. That's why I have the POI program that I'm launching virtually. We will have this all in our content vault, where you will get access to every single one of my actual frameworks that I've ever created. And I just give it away for free. There's absolutely no gatekeeping because I have nothing to lose. I've already built this. So I'm just giving you what I have built. And these are the 3 we're going to do today. So if you want to get a pen and paper, I would love to do this with you. Yeah, I see people getting pens and papers, which is great. Wonderful. Give you a minute. I'll take a sip of water. Okay. So let's go through framework number 1, the 3-second hook, viral hook. Tell me if you've heard of this before. Just give me like a thumbs up in the comments if you heard about a 3-second viral hook. I'd be curious to see if this is like a new concept or not. But I'm going to dive into my version of it. So research has shown that there's over 2 billion users on Instagram every single day. People are scrolling this website and these apps like it's like a dawn of a new day, right? So as a result, and part of what's happening is the attention span of our customer is so short. So the 3-second viral hook is really, we have 3 to about 7 seconds to try to capture somebody's attention. And this actually rings true in every form of social media, because as we enter 2026, there's a new concept I want you to think about. There's no such thing anymore as social media. It's just media, right? Social is now mainstream media. And the social element of it is being able to have a conversation with your customer directly without having to pay a third party, really. Excuse me. So as a result, what we really want to do is when we're building our 3-second hook, we need to be able to formulate really crafty pieces of content that come super naturally to us without even thinking. You don't need to be a copywriter and you don't need to spend hours making content. This is something you can do in real time. And the part that I want you to skip is this, right? Where we say, hey, everybody, happy Tuesday. It's Alana here from Mom Halo. I'm just hopping on to say, I've already just said something in 7 seconds and you've already missed me. Like I'm already over, right? So what I want you to do now is take a pen and paper and I want you to write out the thing that would be the next thing you say, right? Hey, I'm Alexa. Happy Tuesday. Coming live to you from Mexico. I just jumped on to say, and just write down like one sentence of the thing that you would say that's like hitting you right now, right? Like, November is a crazy time for toxic loads, right? Because people are eating and drinking all kinds of crap. Like whatever the thing you want to say, I want you, right? If you're in fitness, if you're in lactation, like, right? Did you know that breast milk is as beneficial as some antibiotics, right? Like if you're sick and your baby's sick, like feed them, right? Like that's something that somebody might not know, right? So when I talk about your expert of industry, the 3-second viral hook is why you see things go viral, right? And the way that the algorithm works is that it serves you up content of people who are kind of like you, maybe in similar industries, or people who are maybe serving up what you are thinking about, right? It's an incredibly powerful tool. And what happens sometimes, like me, right, when I was building this presentation and been talking about this work more than I ever have, I'm being served up everyone in the entire ecosystem who does workshops, seminars, online coaching, right? So it's very, very easy to get sucked into comparing yourself, right? And the comparison game is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's so many people in the ecosystem. There's no room for me, right? Why would I do this, right? We all have self-doubt. We all have some level of imposter syndrome when we start, right? And what ends up happening is that we sort of become a shell of ourselves. And that what happens in that moment is the comparison is the thief of joy, right? We cannot show up as ourselves because we're comparing ourselves to other people we see online. And we know that Instagram specifically is a aesthetic first application, right? Our eyes are hungry, right? We know that food creators say the camera eats first, right? They don't even touch food unless their camera takes a photo, right? So we know that this is the reality, but we also know is that it's highly curated, right? And the people who do incredibly well on social media and media in general are incredibly good storytellers who have incredibly good stories to tell, right? And that's the part that hooks us in. So I'd like you to just think about right now, jot it down if you'd like. What is your fight song, right? What is your story that somebody is going to stop their scroll, interrupt their scroll to see you? And this applies to a couple of our Instagram strategies. I like to use this for Instagram stories. I like to use this for Instagram reels and Instagram carousels. And we are going to explore that in the next couple of slides. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And I welcome Leslie. Oh, hi, Les. Welcome to the conversation. Happy to have you here. If you want to drop your business in the chat, you're more than welcome to. Love to see you there. Okay, we're going to move on to our second framework. Story-driven connections. Does anyone remember the year? This is how old I am. I'm like mother time here. Does anyone remember the year that stories turned up on Instagram? What year it was? I will tell you the year. It was 2018. It was the first time that Instagram was moving toward video heavy content. Why? Because TikTok joined the ecosystem and Instagram was competing with TikTok for what they saw as short form viral videos. So stories ended up being a conversation and a Snapchat piece, right? Like being able to talk to your people in real time. And what's amazing about stories is that I don't know how many followers you have. If people want to just drop their follower count in the chat, I'm just curious. I don't care if it's 1 or 0. Um, but what stories allows us to do, and if you're not doing this, stories is a connection driver, right? People who are in your stories are people who are already following you. And this allows you to go deeper with the relationships of your existing customers. We call this nurturing content, right? You're nurturing the people who you already have, right? So Alexa, great, 2,700. That's like a very, very healthy Instagram following, in my opinion, right? And when you talk to stories, the amount of story views you see, maybe it's 200 some days, maybe it's 500, maybe sometimes it's 1,000, depending on the day. The story views are people who are coming to see you, right? Um, and I want you to think of it as that it can be a place where you can share your struggles, your shifts, your success with your intention, right? With the intention of making sure that you are showing up when you can show up, Alexa, when you can show up and feel like you can show up, that you're doing so with intention, right? We're not just scrolling Instagram and coming on for the sake of coming on. We really want to be a little bit thoughtful about how we use stories. 1,150. Great, Carly. Thank you so much. Yeah, great number. I know that you're just you're pivoting and thinking about what you're doing next. So great start. The thing about stories, and I have to say, I probably have grown my whole business on the back of stories. Stories make you very memorable, relatable, and referable. It's a really simple formula you can use to repeat again and again. And what's amazing about stories, it lasts for 24 hours. It happens in real time, basically. And what I would like to offer you guys, and you can write this down, I like to treat stories one of two ways. I treat it like FaceTime. Okay. I want you to write down the 3 people you FaceTime or face call on a regular basis: your mom, your sister, your best friend. Just write them down. 3 people. This is how I think about my mom, who I FaceTime on a regular basis, my bestie. We FaceTime each other from, when we're Hot Mess Express. Nobody is aesthetically perfect because it's just caught in real time. This is how I approach in my KFITS method, in this methodology, your stories. This is you having a conversation with one person, right? If I had to think about the fact that every time I go on my stories, sometimes, guys, I get up to 8,000, 10,000 story views, right? If I stopped and thought about that every time I posted a story on a Saturday, that 10,000 people are going to see this story of whatever I was doing, a trial, a tribulation, a success, a failure, whatever I'm sharing, like I would go bananas. I just post like I'm on FaceTime and I share stories like nobody's watching. That's it. I'm having an intimate conversation with one person. And that's why I'm so adamant in number one, right? So for our viral hooks, excuse me, that we're not saying, hey, you guys, how's everyone doing? Because in my phone, I'm just one person, right? You're talking to me. You know who's expert at this? The Peloton community, right? When you're on a Peloton, hey, babe, hey, sister, hey, girl, hey, sexy, right? Like they're talking to one person. They're not talking to, hey, everybody, right? It's not the language they use. And that is so intentional. You know who also does really good at it? The shopping channel. Yeah, see, like they're OGs talking to one person, right? They're also incredibly good at door crashers and scarcity and all that stuff. They really are the OG social media. Like influencer marketing is really like the shopping channel. That's where it really started. And it's actually having a comeback. Um, Amazing. I love to hear that. Leslie said she did the strategy yesterday, actually in stories. And using, hey guys, I said Monday, blah, blah, blah. She said something else, which is great. Great. This is such a simple formula. It's so repeatable and it allows you to show up time and time again. And what I love about stories is that it's direct conversation with your customer, right? They respond to you in a DM. That's a conversation, right? Customer acquisition for email, customer acquisition for putting a billboard up or taking a TV ad is hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is free. Absolutely free. I mean, I would say that if you want to be real on social media, that I would invest in a check mark, a blue check mark, which is now purchasable for $18.99 US a month. And I only say this because it makes you look real, right? And verified. Plus, like if you are basically becoming a person of influence, not a content creator and not an influencer marketer, but you are a person of influence, you want to sort of be taken seriously, and the blue check mark actually stops people in their scroll. It stops people in their comments, stops people when they get their notifications. When you see blue check, you're more likely to click on it. It's like this whole psychology behind it. So if you're not already spending the $19 a month US, which is like $25 Canadian, it's not a bad investment. I would highly recommend it. At first, I thought I had an ick factor because you could only get verified if you were actually somebody of notoriety, and it was like a big deal to become verified. I remember applying to be verified again and again. And look, I couldn't even get it with my passport photos or all of my media. It just wasn't happening. And when I finally took the plunge to make the purchase, I understood because um, just a little bit of a tangent here, but when you become verified on social media, which is sort of a new standard of excellence, um, it protects you, right? Because Instagram has been fishy before where it disappears, people lose accounts, they can't recover them. This gives you direct access to your customer. And if you're somebody whose entire business is built on the back of social media, specifically Instagram, and Instagram disappears tomorrow and you cannot talk to your customer at all, like you have no other way to do this, like microphone, like you're screwed a bit, right? So that's why I encourage you to get the blue check mark. And by the way, move those DMs. They're great to have the conversations in the DMs. I also like to move the DMs to my email because that's really where you own the relationship, right? And it's still social, right? You can be like cordial and fun and cute and flirty and social, really, on the DMs. But if you're going to have like a kind of a serious conversation, I always suggest to move it over to email. Okay, that's stories. Reels. Reels as a growth engine. How many of you are making reels now in any consistency? Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down or like a meh, medium, a hand gesture me. Yeah. 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 Reels is really interesting, guys. So I actually have to take back what I said before. Stories was Instagram's response to Snapchat, and Reels was Instagram's response to TikTok. That's the truth. I'm sorry, I've had a very long day. That was a miss say. Um, Reels is the growth strategy, right? The way that we have conversations with our current customer, the 2,700 people, Alexa, who are following you now, that's in stories, right? Those are people who are already following you. What Reels does is incredible growth for folks. And that's why people and why Instagram is favoring reel content, because it is something that you can be pumped out to 2 billion people, basically, right? And it's going to show you to the ideal customer who are outside of your 2,700 people following. And there's a million and one strategies about how to do reels. For me, it's a numbers game. It's about volume, frankly. It's not about perfectionism. It's not about quality. It's just volume. And I would like everyone to just look at their phones right now. And when you look at your actual Instagram page, I'd love you to show me the number of posts next to your name. So if you look at mine, I'm not sure if you can see that, it says 2,396 posts. I just want you to recognize how many posts you've made. To me, this is volume. So I have been on Instagram, for lack of a better word, for like 7 years growing this account. And I've made 2,396 posts. That's almost 2,400 posts, which is almost a post a day, right? So, oh, Carrie, that's a pretty good number. You've done 2,773 pieces of content. That's amazing. 998. Alexa, there's room for you to go up there. But I know we're in a moment for you. So I encourage you to make reels, and I encourage you to do them any which way you want to. But this is where we become a person of influence, and this is where influence can really skyrocket. And I'll remind you, like, Instagram was kind of built on the back of what I call fashion girlies or fitness influencers. And that's why I think for a long, 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 long time, people just thought it was cringy, right? There was an ick factor, like, I don't want to be a content creator. I don't want to be an influencer. That's for somebody else. Or they were too intimidated to be like, I'm not pretty. I'm not skinny. I'm not fit. This is not this is not my fight song, right? So people consume it as aesthetic and inspiration and aspiration, but they're not contributing to the conversation because they don't see themselves that way. And we're at a time right now in exponential growth for content creation. And this is the time actually to be part of the conversation because we want to see you, right? There's more body diversity. There's more subject matter expertise. There's businesses being birthed on the back of Reels alone, right? People who are Reels experts who are teaching people how to do all sorts of editing hacks, really cool things. But truthfully, if you just have a story to tell that helps you solidify your expertise, right? That's what we're trying to highlight. Your expertise makes you somebody of influence, right? And it's not about being an influence marketer. It's not necessarily about being somebody who gets brand deals if that's not your intention. It's about finding the right customer so that your Instagram and your social media converts to profit. That's this framework. Reels is the one most important growth engine. And I have to tell you, it took me a while to get there. When it first came out, I didn't understand it. And it took me a really long time to get on board. And I experiment all the time. I spend about 30 days doing one type of content. Then I switch to another type of content and I see where my people are coming up, right? Where my followers are gauging. You know, I almost had 1 million engagements last month from creating reels, like 5 or 6 days a week. And it's always changing. But if you're not part of the vernacular, right? If you're not speaking the language of the platform, then you don't know what's happening, right? So it's a little bit about participation and also about checking yourself, right? Let's do like a fun fact check. Like, how many hours a day are you actually spending scrolling? Ask yourself honestly. Are you waking up in the morning and grabbing your phone and scrolling immediately? Then doing it again, you know, 6 hours a day? Well, how much time are we really spending, right? 3 hours a day? And what are you doing? Are you looking for your pleasure receptors? Are you studying the content, right? So this is what I challenge you to do for Reels. I want you to be super intentional. And they've made that really easy now, right? They've added all sorts of new features. Instagram of today is not Instagram of yesteryear. I can guarantee you that. They've added their own editing tools that is far superior to anything that was on the market before, right? They are creating templates that you can easily copy, right? They're even giving you opportunities to drag and drop photos directly into Reels, meeting the beats and sounds of trending music. So like they're literally handing it to people on a silver platter because they want people to succeed. That's how I see this. Like Instagram is giving us every single tool available, but you just need to lean in a bit and not be afraid to try. And some of my favorite features now is this idea that you can save content, right? There's a little tiny arrow where if you see a piece of content, you can save it and come back to it for later. Could be you want to watch it later. Um, who just said they're unaware of all these features? Yeah, Alexa, I'll school you, girl. They're all there. But you can save features, right? That little tab sign where you can save it. I save audio, I save trends, I save ideas. I save people that I think are cool or interesting, or maybe people I want to have on my podcast, or recipes I want to bake. But those save feature may be your saving grace. Even audio, like I see a cool audio, it hits my ears, and I'm like, that is going to be a big piece of audio. And there was one that hit I think 2 days ago, and I just absolutely loved it. So I think I made 3 pieces of content with the same audio because I just loved it. And then Instagram now maxes how many times you can use a piece of audio, by the way, for a reel. So I'm just cognizant of the time, and I have a couple more slides to get through. Those are the 3 frameworks that I wanted you guys to workshop today for this audit. Think about, take a minute. What do my reels look like? What do my stories look like? What are my hooks, right? Am I somebody who's giving a really long preamble? Am I not getting to the point, right? And what do you want to be known for? Like, what is your expertise, right? Some of you, it's very clear because you're practitioners. Some of you may be a little bit more vague, and some of you are maybe just starting for the first time, right? So I encourage you to do the audit. Look at your Instagram. Look at your followers. Who are they? Have you ever looked at your followers and said, who is actually following me? Right? Of 2,700 people, how many of them are actually potential clients, right? No, it'd be interesting to spend an hour and just say, okay, well, this is 100 of my high school friends, right? This is my mom, right? These are businesses, and these are actually potential customers that I didn't even know I had, right? So it's not bad to actually sit with your actual followers and see who actually the hell these people are, because that might be where you're seeing a disconnect into screaming into the void. Your customers are just not there. And that's why this growth strategy is so important, because if you're making content that positions you as the expert and the person of influence for your industry, the the influence will do its work for you. It will find you the right people, right? My milkshake brings the boys to the yard. This is the milkshake, right? So we want you to shake it, but there's a recipe, right? And the recipe is not so challenging. It's just something that needs to be exercised, right? Like a muscle, like anything else, right? You go to the gym, you lift weights. Even if you go for 15 minutes a day, you're habitually lifting weights, right? Lift heavy for 15 minutes, 5 days a week, right? That's a great strategy. I love that strategy, right? Do anything really, really intensely for 15 minutes every day. Great. This is the same framework. Can you do 50 minutes of actual content creation, right? Take the risk, right? Position yourself as the expert. Find your customer. There's a reason other people are making impact and profit and you're not, right? Because they're taking it a little bit more seriously. They're doing it a little bit more consistently, right? And it doesn't need to be giant trends. It doesn't need to be complex. It just needs to be your story and told well. So, the transformation, real people, and real results. So, what I'm trying to do with this POI program is turn people from being really invisible to in demand with clear profiles and finding the exact people who resonate with their offers. This includes things like landing ideal collabs, partnerships that you never expected. And just for me, this is really the Northern Star, is building a business that feels aligned with your life and your values. I'm about a lifestyle first business, girls. Like that, to me, is the most important thing. And that's how you get there. So a little bit about this program, what you can expect from becoming this piece. I'm not expecting anything else, but if you did the audit today, we can talk about this a bit at the end, but if you want me to review your audit or look at you for anything or have any conversation, there's no obligation at all to join the program or any of that. I'm not even talking about pricing or anything today. If you just want to book a call with me, I will happily have a conversation with you about any of these topics and offer you as much information as I can in 15 minutes. But basically what I really want to do for you is talk about a launch, an in-demand offer that reflects your true gifts, and grow an aligned audience using sustainable influential systems. And the most important thing is really turning your influence into income without burnout. So how does that sound, guys? Does that sound interesting? Sound right up your alley? Yes, I love that. I see some nodding heads. So let's talk a bit about the offer that I have here that I'm starting for the first time ever. I'll tell you the truth is the reason I'm doing this is because I had a problem. My problem is I've been running K-Fit's Method now for 2 years, and I do it in person in a boardroom that has 4 chairs. And I realized I was filling those 4 chairs. And it came to dawn on me that there's people from all over the world who want to sit in that room, and there's just not the space. And I was being limited by my postal code and my physical brick and mortar space. So this is my answer to being able to serve more people around the world at a very affordable price on a very regular basis. So some of the things you get obviously is the in-depth frameworks. We only went through 3 of 7. Live calls and coaching with me every single week. And we will have an awesome community because I am curating the group a bit. The resource vault. So this is something I've been building for a long time. It is my reels. It is my stories. It's how to do a social feed plan, my media kit, my hooks, the story prompts, the launch plans, the podcast playbook, the tech stack, how to do a one-to-many offer, how to do a membership tool, sponsorship, brand collabs. Like I've done it all and I have codified it. And that is one of the things that you receive. Absolute access to that. So is this right fit for you? Well, let me ask you. It's not for anyone looking to get rich fast. It's a nice scheme. It's not for people unwilling to show up and do the work. You got to do the work, guys, right? This is something where we work together. And the reason that I'm doing this program, because I know when I work hand in hand with my clients, that we get results, right? So that requires the work. And we work together to really create a perfect value-driven founder moment, especially for those who are parents, because that's my weak spot, because I come from that ecosystem. And I'm really trying to create something that is sustainable, so you have sustainable influence, profit, and joy. So a couple questions that people have been asking me: what if I don't have a big following yet? That doesn't matter. Does not matter. We can grow that following, number one. And if you looked at your following, right? If I looked at Alexa's following of 2,700 people, I would bet your bottom dollar that there's a lot of room to grow there, right? What would, if we grew 10% of your following, 270 customers, what would that do for your business, right? Be exponential growth. So the goal is not always, I know people making millions and millions of dollar businesses with 1,500 followers, right? There's a myth. There's this myth that you need to have this enormous following in order to have enormous profit goals. And I just don't think that's the case. Well, what if I'm busy with my kids from 9 to 5? My kids are my 9 to 5 job. That's okay. I'll come with you every single week. It's 60 minutes. We work together. You get to do the vault on your own. Check it out. It's all there. If you need me to work on anything with you, we'll set some serious goals. If you need me to see anything, you're putting together a deck, you're putting together an offer, you're putting together a playbook, you're putting together a menopause reset, you're putting together a membership, gold plan, something like that. I'm happy to help with you. And this will work for your niche. This works for every niche. That's the thing I want people to understand. You can be a person of influence. It does not matter what your ecosystem is or where you come from. There was an article that just came out recently that I was reading that it said that most CEOs now find themselves having to stand in the form of influencer, right? They had to become the influencer. They had to stand in front of the camera for the first time. So it's really pushing people to use those skills, right? And this is great. I'm introverted. Can I really be a person of influence? 100%. 100%, right? Because we're talking to on FaceTime to our mom, right? We're talking to our one best friend. And the strategies and skills we can use to employ to make sure that you're feeling really passionate and that you're feeling really supported. So these are the whole system. We did not go through the last 4, which is an offer alchemy, podcast and earned media, how to do media kits and brand deals and partners, and then all of my other scales about how to do a one-to-many offer, including online workshops, membership-based communities, and event-based communities. That's my little cycle of my framework. And a note about guarantees for this new POI audit is that I'm building a business. We are building a business, and we need to focus on consistency. I can't guarantee your results, only the quality of the framework and the support I will give you. And the results are ultimate to you, but I'm here to guide you. And there's people on this call that can attest to my guidance. And I want you to write this down now. If you can just drop this in the chat. I'm going to just, where's my chat feature? Where's my chat? I lost it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you want to book a call with me, you can do that. My calendar is open for this particular piece. You can go to join.alanakfitz.com / if somebody can test this to make sure that it worked out, book chat / masterclass. Okay. Can someone just tell me if this works. I'm going to send it in the chat and just make sure that it actually links to where it's supposed to go. So regardless if you want to join the program, I really, really want to meet you. You can review anything we learned today. And I'm happy just to have a conversation, really. As I say, I don't gatekeep anything. I'm happy to give you all the knowledge that I have because I think there's a lot of choice in the sandbox for everybody, right? Even if you were doing the exact same thing as me, you're not going to do it the exact same way I do it, right? Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to open up for questions. We have 15 minutes, but I'm not going to end it. Like, if people want to keep asking questions or have a conversation, I'm happy for us to keep going. And one thing I will mention is that, as a bonus of you guys who are here attending today, I will be adding what I call back pocket SOS calls. They're 20 minutes. Whenever you need them, I will be available for you if you decide to join the program. And I will email anyone who wants a media kit template like tomorrow. As well as if you are interested, you can pick the media kit template, the podcast launch, or the viral hook library. And these are people who join the masterclass. I'll be able to get them to ASAP. But I digress. Let's go back to the Q&A. If anyone wants to come off mics or ask any questions, we're happy to answer anything you have. Go ahead.
I'm really curious how long, like whether it's like a day or a week, a month, like how long does it take you or do you spend creating content? Because obviously you're super consistent. Yeah, what is the time frame that you put into that?
So Alexa, you're gonna love this answer. For the past 8 months, since I've had my fourth child, I scroll social media for the for for the full purpose of inspirational content. I find a style or a method that I want to then emulate, and I create the content while I'm nursing. Really, that's my strategy. So how long do I nurse? 15 minutes, right? Look up the content. Next time I nurse, okay, 15 minutes. Maybe I shot something when I saw an opportunity. And I'm somebody who sees opportunities anywhere, right? My dryer broke and my husband and I were in a laundromat. And I saw one of those baskets. I'm like, oh man, I got to just take this thing for a spin. And I grabbed my camera, right? I just took it. So that wasn't necessarily part of my strategy plan for this month. I didn't know my dryer was going to break. But everywhere I look, I see inspiration and I see opportunity to create content. So I'm just kind of always on, and it's become second nature to me. But that's a muscle that I've learned to exercise. You're a very fit person. You're somebody in the wellness space. You're somebody who, is inspirational, aspirational, and a complete expert of your industry, right? Naturopathic doctor, you're incredible. But those are all muscles you've learned to build, right? And with your own customers, like, what does it take 3 months to see massive results? Yeah, right. 3 months. 3 months you can see huge results. So that's why my program, by the way, is a minimum commitment of 3 months, because you need to see results. I really like people to commit for 4 or more. 4 to 6 is really the sweet spot, because then I can really be on this journey with you. And as Leslie might be able to test, a year is where you really see takeoff, because at least it's a year and not 3 years, right? Like, a year is where you really can see dramatic change of who you are, what you're becoming, what your offer is, how you're getting there, and how you're getting profit. So that's where it comes from. Like, I just look for inspiration. And also, if I have a thought that I think is interesting and relevant, this is what I'll offer you. The people who follow you, and what's dropped in for me and what was a huge unlock, are the people who follow me are people who are kind of like me, inspired by me, and coming to me for the Alana Kavitz like, no buy factor, right? They like me, they trust me, they want to know me. So I show up consistently, right? And that's the cadence, right? Music, we talk about cadence. Cadence is the rhythm. Ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. We talk about cadence in social media. It's how often can you how often can you show up, right? What is the cadence in which you can show up? Just pick the cadence, right? And let that be consistent, because that's what you're going to be known for. You want to do one reel a week? That's fine, Alexa. That's fine, right? If you're feeling inspired and you want to give yourself a 30-day reel challenge and say, can I do this 6 days a week? Right? And what's a new interesting thing for me, my audience is highly available on the weekends. That was never before. My audience used to be available Monday through Friday, like at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. That's where I'd find my people. Now I find I post anything on the weekend, it goes crazy. Saturday and Sunday are my biggest tickets. I can almost guarantee like thousands and thousands of views, thousands and thousands of shares on social media on Saturday and Sunday. It was not part of my strategy before. So it's about social listening, right? We listen, 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 give. Listen, 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 give. Listen, 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 sell, right? So that's what it is, right? Because the people who are on your social feed who are always selling, sell, 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 sell. You ain't listening, right? And you ain't buying. You're kind of muting them, right? But somebody who's giving you aspiration, inspiration, education, a little bit entertainment, that's fine, right? those are the people we're following. Those are the people you want to be like. And that's where you want to emulate, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's a very that I feel more at ease because I've asked I've I tried working with some other people before and it was like a minimum 1 to 2 hours a day. I was like, I can't do that. That's crazy. Like it was just like too much. So that I like your answer a lot. That sounds a lot more natural.
The only thing that I would ask is you actually have a very aesthetic life, right? You're an aesthetic person. You live in a beautiful place. You have just like you are that. So maybe the pressure is feeling that like you need to have an aesthetic, right? So showing up without makeup, and I actually coached someone today who's like, I don't make a reel unless my hair is blow dried. And I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Let's throw that out the window. Make the reel when an idea lands in your head, right? It doesn't always need to be the content plan. The content calendar is great, right? But trends change every single week, right? And hooks change all the time. And it's literally this living, breathing organism. But with the advent actually of AI, we're seeing some really interesting things, which where people are almost craving the more real people because they are not sure what's real and fake anymore. So that's why somebody like Leslie Gottlieb, who's growing like an in-person community, fantastic example, right? Because people are craving IRL in real life experiences, right? People are craving to talk to actual other people because they want to know that there's actually a human being on the other side of that conversation, right? Not to mention, by the way, Alexa, if you're feeling really stuck, I encourage you to use AI, right? If you're not paying for ChatGPT for $20 a month, that's the other investment I would make because it will start to pick up your tone and your voice. And you might have an idea that's not fully formed, right? You're like, oh man, I'm walking on the beach right now and I'm feeling like I know that the vibration of Mexico is giving me life, right? And I don't know exactly how I want to say this. So I'm going to talk, I'm not going to even write it. I'm going to literally voice note it to ChatGPT, say, hey, ChatGPT. And that's what it's about, right? My husband, who's a AI expert, says ChatGPT is one of two things. It's a calculator. You need to learn how to use it, right? You need to know what to feed it, right? And kids in university right now, I know a lot of people who are professors and teachers, they're not even giving kids assignments anymore. They're saying, what prompts would you ask ChatGPT about this topic, right? They want to see if they can formulate the prompt. They don't necessarily want the outcome. They want to see if they can ask the right questions, right? So this is where we're going to get really smart about the services and availability of being able to reduce our time. You should not be spending 2 hours a day, right? That's conflicting advice. I'm telling you the opposite. I don't want you spending 2 hours a day. But if an idea drops in, like raw dog it, like create the content right there, right? If you want to edit it later, that's fine. I owed Nix. I'm a Nix ambassador. I owed them a piece of content this week. I got the delivery last week. I did not have time to do it. And I realized I want to wear the piece this morning to an event I was going to this afternoon. I had a minute to do it. I shot it in 4 minutes. I edited in three and it was up in 10. It dropped into me, right? Like it just drops. So, like anything else, it just becomes a muscle you use. But it's a really, really, really strong question. Thank you for asking it. Anyone else feeling inspired? You don't need to be on camera to ask. You can just ask. Uh, yeah. Alicia, I see you coming off
Yeah.
mic.
So I'm starting my business. So like from zero. Like I have no Instagram. I only have my personal. So would you recommend to create a brand new account or transition my personal to this, to my lactation?
I would suggest you make a new account.
Okay.
Um, and it doesn't need to feel like a lot of work, but Alicia, there is something called a professional business page. And on Instagram, if you have a personal account or a business account, when you have a business account, it unlocks a whole world of opportunity. It
Mm-hmm.
gives you way more information about the people who are following you. And frankly, starting from ground one, like from zero, is like the perfect place to start because you really have nothing to lose. And
Mm-hmm.
some people who are really fresh out of the gate feel quite uncomfortable about posting about their business, especially something like lactation consultancy, maybe to their existing friends and family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is maybe start a new account and then tell your friends and family, hey, if you want to support me, please come and follow me there. And you'll see who shows up, right? And the more first 40 people might just be the people who are there to support you and love you. But it allows you to then shamelessly create content that's hyper niche. Lactation consultancy is a really incredible business. right? It's a very profitable business. It's a very hands-on business. You're helping people at very, very small, but a very crucial time in their life. And you want
Yeah.
to be an expert of industry that somebody will recommend, right? That they'll either use it yourself or they'll see you online and be like, holy shit, this woman knows what she's talking about, right? And I have to be honest, I've had 4 kids. I've hired lactation consultants for every single kid I've had, right? Nursing
Mm-hmm.
is something that did not come easy to me for not even one child. I literally have spent hundreds of dollars, right? And if I know you and I like you and you refer to me, I don't care where the referral comes from, frankly. When you're in that moment of desperation, I feeling like you need to feed your kid or you're feeling like your nipples are going to fall off, like I want to know. Just give me a
Yeah.
911, right? It's really like an SOS, right? So your job is to stay relevant. And that's why I would say it might feel in the beginning like a heavier lift, but Alicia, maybe there's an opportunity to make a brand, right? I would have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with ChatGPT or go into Canva. Canva has a great AI right now and say, I'm a lactation consultant. This is going to be the name of my company. And I'd come up with a brand identity. That would be the first thing I do. What's the look and feel of what I want this account to look like? What do I want to be known for? What's my cutting edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the conversation I would have. And I don't think, bye, Les, you've had a long day. I know. Bye, honey. Thanks for coming. And congrats on today. She had a big day. So that's what that's my honest feedback, Alicia, is that I would just really have an honest to God conversation with yourself about who this is going to be and what you want this to look like. And I'm not saying you need to have a full marketing strategy. That is not what I'm saying at all. But go for
Mm-hmm.
coffee with yourself, right? Go to the coffee shop or find a quiet space for half a day and just take a piece of paper or take your notebook and just start writing like, what do I want this to be? What is my profit goal? What do I want to be known for? And understanding that you only can go up, right? You're a brand new lactation consultant, right? And all you
Yeah.
need is a couple people to give you an opportunity, right? And what we're talking about is breasts, right? And feeding baby. It's a very intimate piece. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be that there are a couple people that you've supported in the past. Yeah, I would send them a
Mm-hmm.
direct DM and say, hey, babe, I'm starting a new business. I would love for you to follow me on account. If you give me a testimonial about the time we worked together or how I supported you, I'd really appreciate that, right? So this is
Yeah.
where we're being a little bit strategic about how we launch. But, day one, post one, you see a lot of businesses reinvent themselves and they delete their entire existence before they archive everything and come up with a brand
Mm-hmm.
new, there's no wrong way to do this. That's what I want to encourage you, right? There's only the way
Okay.
that works for you. So I don't, if you're waiting for the right time or you're waiting for perfection, I would just say that's not what I would do. I would say, like, go tomorrow. Like, literally, tomorrow is Wednesday. Go to a coffee shop. You can come work it with me at the Collective. I work right here in Toronto if you're in Toronto. I'm happy for you to, come and hang out with me and just open your laptop and say, what inspires me? Or at least I would actually go on social media, look on Instagram, open Explore, look up lactation consultant and see across the world all the different types of lactation consultants and what they're talking about or breastfeeding experts, right?
Mm-hmm.
LCs who are certified, right? I met Jack, what's his name, Jack Newman in person. I had him on my podcast in
Oh yeah.
2019. Wow, that was interesting. Um, Explain to me how a man is a breastfeeding expert is beyond me. But
And
anyways, he's the godfather. Love the man. It was a very funny podcast. Um, you trained at his clinic. Yeah, he's an interesting dude.
me
Uh,
too. I've been at his clinic too,
Yeah,
Alexa.
but you have to ask. Like he really knows. I mean, he on a tangential on my podcast. He went and talked about Billy Rubin for like 40 minutes. We had to
Oh
cut it
yeah.
on the podcast. Obsessed with Billy Rubin, but I learned
Yeah.
a lot. Anyways,
Yeah.
but this is what I'm saying. The opportunities are really, really rich, right? And you have credentials, right? You actually have knowledge. You've had experiences. Your hands have been on breasts, right? Like that's a
Mm-hmm.
practitioner. And you've helped people get latches, right? And part of that is like being very, very consistent, right? And what I love about that is client stories, right? It's very anonymous, right? There's no reason why you couldn't come on and say, hey, I met this mom who's a fourth time mom, and even as a fourth time mom, she has vagospasms in her nipples, right, for the first time. So I had to recommend a B12 complex, a B6 complex, because
Mm-hmm.
her nipples were literally losing blood circulation, and she's had 4 kids. And I'm giving you a personal story, by the way. And this is the first time she had to deal with that, right? So there's all sorts of ways for you to like build content. And all of you who are actually service providers, testimonials that are anonymous based on your client stories is a great way to come up with content, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have a client meeting, they had a challenge. Okay, this might be a challenge that other people are facing too. I'm going to just document this and maybe share it another time. For confidentiality, I wouldn't necessarily have the meeting that day and then share it that day, but just keep it in your arsenal, right? It's a really great way to grow your following, because if that person has that problem, likely somebody else does too. Thank you for asking the question, Alicia.
So what I hear you say over this hour is basically that I have to stay away from perfectionism and just do it. And that's so hard.
Yeah, I would say for me, the most important thing, and you can anyone who can stay on this call can attest to this. The most important thing is sometimes we build the ship while we're sailing the ship, right? And all you got to do is grab the wheel, babe. Honestly, perfectionism is the biggest death of joy in my right. It's never going to be perfect, right? If I waited to show up and be perfect every single day, like I'm wearing like makeup that I put on at 9 a.m. I'm like half asleep right now. You know, I'm exhausted. I've done this lecture yesterday. I did it today. I coached people for 2 hours today. I've done 5 discovery calls today. I did an event from 9 to 12, and now I'm here with you. So I'm not feeling perfect. I'm coughing, right? I'm taking sips of water. I'm feeling a little raspy, but I'm showing up, right? Because this is important to me and because I believe in this, right? So, Alicia, I believe in you, right? And the question, I need you to believe in you too, right? Like, just show up, just start, right? FaceTime.
Thank you.
FaceTime.
So your program would be okay for me that I'm starting from scratch, or more for someone that already has a business?
No, it's totally fine. I go from people who are pre-conception, like just pre-revenue, people who are ideating, people who are very established, because we learn from each other, right? And a lot of people, even if they've been in business for 10 years, like they sometimes hit a really hard spot or they need to reinvent, right? Just because something worked in 2019 and 2020, 2022, it's not working now, right? So something's got to give. So there's always room for improvement. There's always room to learn. And I believe that you don't need to be in an entire cohort of people who are at the exact same stage and age. It doesn't work, right? In our classrooms for our children, right? When you have a grade 1 class and there's kids who are advanced and kids who are behind and kids who are, born in December and kids who are born in January and they've been alive for 6, look, somebody's reading, like the classroom has to be diverse, right? It can't just be all kids who are exactly the same. That's not how you learn, right? So yes, you would be appropriate. Yes.
Perfect. Thank
Alicia,
you.
just book a call with me. I'm happy to go a little bit deeper with you on this stuff for sure.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Awesome. Carly, Matt, any questions? Love it. Okay. Well, okay, guys. Yes, I look forward to booking a call with you. Thank you so much for spending the hour with me. I hope you learned something. I had a really great time talking to you all. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me today. And as I mentioned, if you want me to do your POI audit of anything you read about today and that you learned about today, I'm happy to look at anything. And if you want to learn more about this program, I'm happy to share it with you, but absolutely no pressure at all. But please, please, please book a call with me. I would love, love, love to see you, talk to you, and let's talk. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night and feel better.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.